Mm. Oh, whew. Mm. Let me get back to the Zoom so I can see all the messages. Uh-oh, sound problem. I think I have a sound problem too. I'm freaking tired. Ooh. I was up way too late last night. Way too late. I put TP too long on gold last night. So I hit my stop loss and profits, but whatever. I put gold I put gold TP. Let me show you. My gold scalp was so perfect. Oh my gosh. This is my entry. This is how far gold went last night. But my TP, let me see, let me look on the thing. 1292 flat. This is where I put TP. Let me get a line. I was pretty bummed out. 129. 92 flat. Like down there basically. This is TP. Way too far. I couldn't believe it. I was really betting on the fact that if price is really pushing down this far, maybe we're gonna break, but oh well. Oh, that was still a good scalp. Still a good scalp. Hmm. Let's see, more people are starting to roll in. Maybe we might have a small group this morning, which is fine. This morning is really focused towards everything is focused towards Q&A. So, this morning is set aside just for things that everybody's struggling with, things that you want more help with. It's not so much like a specific lesson of any sort. It's just, where can everybody improve? Oh, this morning was nice. Look at how strong this rejection was off of this, resistance here. Super huge. 2 a.m. candle. Super huge rejection. This is momentum. These are momentum style trades. It's got to be at least 10 pips. Yep. Easy. Look at this. Boom. Boom. Doesn't get any more textbook than that. Look at this in between zones. Freaking close below support. Like, this is the best freaking sells right here. And then in between zones, that's where you know your TP's at. Perfect. Let me grab a little bit of coffee as we wait for a few more to come in. Man, I have no idea how to work this espresso machine that I got. What the freak? Oh, there we go. Oh, that's cool. Oh, shit. How does this work? What the freak? Are you freaking kidding me? This looks like water. I don't think I did this right. There's no way I did this right. It's just freaking water. What the freak?
this guy technician, if you send something and said, can you please do this for me? I just action it. So I don't know for a good attacking Colin is saying something like they are able to send information.
There we go. There we go. Had to get that espresso going. I heard some more talking. See if more of our guys are rolling in. Cool, cool. So has everybody got? Um, yeah, I haven't shared my screen yet. Let me share it. Oh shoot, you guys didn't even see it from earlier when I was talking about gold, huh? I'm sure you can see it now. Let me see. All right, let's get some. Let's get the chat box open. Oops. Oops. My name is. Yeah, where's Axe Laugh? Look, I think you guys can see my screen now. Wait, Alex, you can't hear anything? Can you guys hear me? Let me make sure you guys can hear me. Just put like yes or something. Oh, okay. All right, all right, all right. And we do have a lot of others who, many others who wanted to postpone for another hour, but no microphone. Well, it says yes, but no microphone. What does that mean? But anyways, so let's just start. Let's go straight into it. My audio is not working. Uh oh. Uh oh. Well, so let's jump into this. Let's jump into at least start posting. Like let's start hammering in. At least what the questions are. Because even if you can't talk a little bit, um, you know, at least we got the chat box open. So, start posting whatever kind of questions, little things that you're struggling with. Those who can talk, we'll just kind of go one by one. Instead of doing the traditional just one-on-one today, there's too many that just really want, some extra little push. So this whole webinar is specifically focused on just Q&A. It's as if it is a one-on-one, but it's just a one on, 20 or 30, whatever way we want to look at it. So yes, it's being recorded as we speak. So everybody will hear me talking about espresso and that I'm tired and I went to sleep at 2 a.m. last night. So I'm on 5 hours right now. Yeah, I know you're driving. It's all good, though. I know you're driving. It's all good. So let's just jump right to it. Let's start getting questions down. Everybody start posting questions. Either post your questions in the Zoom chat or just go into the the uh, the WhatsApp group if you want to go in the WhatsApp group. So just kind of however which way you guys want to do it. Let's start getting the questions up, and then let's start because mostly everybody will have very similar questions. So really be directed towards everybody. So let's get some questions going. Let's get some in depth into the charts, focused on what you guys are struggling with, even what I might be struggling with. All seems clear to me. Damn, that's a free. All right, see ya. Rolling, taking over. Are you Taha? Oh, that's good. Oh, that's good. Hot until August. Yes. Yes. Yes, the positivity for psychology issues. Absolutely. 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 So far, let's start writing these down, right? What do we got? Can I copy this? I can. Awesome. Let me see if I can just highlight the rest too. Let's see. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Let's see if this works. Let's see if this works. I'm gonna make it big screen now, so I won't see the chat box, but I'll go back to it. Bada bing, bada boom. Word for word, everybody's questions. Let's go. Let's put on the higher time frame so that we can. All right, what do we got? We got. All right, we got this the process charts, yada yada, price action with zones. All right, some positive psychology issues. Because you guys know that was my biggest issue just a few weeks ago. Psychology is almost everything in trading. Like the thing is, the thing about psychology is that like you have to have these rules. You have to have so many rules when you trade. It's not just I'm going to jump in the market, I'm going to buy or sell right now. It's all just rules. Like if you there's and I think what's so important with psychology, I think the reason why I'm going to start with psychology right now is because I'm really tired. So it seems to be like the easiest topic to really hit on. Um, the thing with your psychology is I think what's really important about your trading plans is your rules of when not to trade. Not your rules of trading, but your rules of not to trade, right? Like if you're doing market execution and you don't know where the trend is, place pending orders. Get pending orders placed. So the market will just do its thing, right? But the whole idea with the psychology stuff is like let's open up the drive real quick, right? Let's go in the drive, right? Let's look at right. Let's get into our trading plan, right? Right. So the whole area of like do not trade, right? Like this is just mine, right? This is not like everybody, but this is really me. I should probably add more things on there, right? If I've got a headache, I'm not trading, right? If I'm mad, I don't trade. If I'm sad, I don't trade. If you just have like an argument with someone, don't trade. And if you're in a trade and you just had an argument, just place your TP and your stop loss and walk away. You know, um, you know, did you identify momentum? If yes, spot structure. you cannot spot momentum, no trade, right? No momentum, no entry. And I really got this from Rakil when he says, figure out what kind of person you are. I really like that. Because it's really important to follow what kind of person you are. How do you interpret, like, who are you, Because the whole idea with trading is this psychology stuff is if you don't balance these emotions, you're gonna lose. You're just gonna lose. That's it. The whole idea with trading is like any trading strategy can be a profitable trading strategy. Whether you're counter trend trading, trading with the trend, the thing that helps me the most is this. When we're looking at a chart, right? When we're looking at a chart, the whole psychology process, if you cannot determine where price is going, then just walk away. Come back in another hour, right? So like the way that I have my trading plan set up is in that 4 hour time frame, right? So we know that I like to get in like around, I used to really trade 6 a.m. a lot, but I've been staying up way too late the past few months. So I'm not really trading, directly the 4 hour candle at 6 a.m., but it leaves me open for the next 4 hours, right? So if I don't wake up, I wake up very relaxed. Every day that I wake up very relaxed. I don't wake up, I don't rush to the charts. The first thing I do is I might check to see what price is done, and then I might that might initiate how quickly I want to get up, how quickly I want to get ready for the day. But the thing that you have to really break down is the fact that these are really key things, right? You can never miss an opportunity. That's a really big thing with Forex trading. And that's a big thing that everybody thinks that you miss, even myself. Like, I really can't tell you how many times I woke up, like at 5:30, and let's say I snoozed till 5:45, and 5:45 is right when the price made that push. Because many times, every single early morning, there'll be a little bit of like a pre-push at 5:45, right the 15 minutes before the new 6 o'clock, the new 4 hour candle. So it's kind of like this. You'll see this 5:45. Sometimes 5:45 might come all the way down here and then it hit a support, and then right for 6, it's making a bullish launch. So sometimes if I've already seen that price made that push, it'll psych me out and I'll say, well, I don't know if I want to trade now, because you just get psyched out. So going into the charts, knowing, you can never miss an opportunity. The next one's coming right up. Let's say 6 a.m. had this huge, huge, huge launch. And then all of a sudden in the last hour, it retraced 20 pips and it left us off with a 4 hour wick to fill. So your trading plans need to be set around the fact that you can never miss an opportunity. Just be relaxed, right? And let's say price already pushed like crazy, so you didn't like what price was doing anymore. So you don't have to trade at that time. Trade the next 4 hours. Maybe trade the next 4 hours or the next 4 hours. This is why the 4 hour time frame specifically is so important, because you may see the chart now and it doesn't look pretty, but in 3 hours for the next one, maybe it's beautiful. Maybe it's later on in the evening, right? So for me, the biggest thing was this, right? If you don't have momentum, if you cannot identify momentum immediately, don't trade. Now let's walk into what that looks like, right? Let's walk into what that looks like a little bit. Get my handy dandy out. So this was after 6. This is after 10. This whole area did not have clear momentum at all. This whole area ended up, and I actually did not trade at any of these times yesterday. This had no clear momentum whatsoever, but look what happened after 10 for the Asian, right? So the new daily followed by the Asian market open. You can definitely see we had, beautiful rejection. Price ended up closing higher almost making like a 2-1 confirm on a higher time frame, right? Because we had this lowest low, and this is a lower high, but you can see how it made this a new higher low, right? So potential of this new trend change, and then what did it leave us off with? That wick to go fill. So this is the momentum that you're looking for. This had very, very clear momentum that yes, indeed, we are going bullish. And if that wasn't good enough for you, look at what the 6 o'clock did. This is when I traded, right? We blew past the resistance. The 4-hour closed above resistance. So then you have to go to your zones and you have to see, well, where's price going? So that's why my TP was at 623 yesterday. 6.3, right? 6.3. So we look and we say, if our next zone is that 10 pips away, right? Right? This is where my TP was. Right? Our next zone is just 10 pips away. So it ended up going what? All the way through London. Actually, London kind of sparked a nice reversal an hour after. But anyways, if we're going bullish, right? Like my entries were immediately right here. We're right here. Immediately. The reason why I took these buy entries, number one, the 4-hour momentum was clear. We broke through, this is the most recent resistance, right? We broke through that resistance and we had not touched those next zones yet. It was not on a very nice zone yet. This is where it was touching, was only here. This is not a position where price has recently touched a lot of times. So it's not a very strong zone in regards to where price really wants to go. And so if we would have looked, this is why I drew my zone here, because I saw price here, I was at the bottom of here. So I said, okay, 623, and that's right where this is, or 63. That's where my next zone was. So the next thing you really want to pay attention to is if we're going bullish, right? We had, of course, already a cross, right? And the EMA distancing was getting bigger. You know, at this time, this was all blocked off. I wish it went darker and wasn't transparent. So you can just cover everything, right? So we have post Nikki, like 6 p.m. I know price is gonna potentially have volatility because the Nikkei market just opened, and 1 hour after is the 4-hour 6 p.m. candle. What did we have? We had this EMA distancing, right? Here's our cross happen, and then the EMAs were getting stronger and stronger. We broke well over the resistance on the 4-hour, right? Where is the mute? Here's our resistance. We broke well over it, and we are still 10 to 15 pips away from the next potential zone that was strong enough for price to go and reach, right? These nice premium supply and demand zones, you know, bouncing off, going from supplies, going from supply to zones, from supply to demand, from demand to supply, right? So after knowing that we broke above resistance, having a 4-hour wick to fill, and we're at least 10 pips in between, these are the trades that are confident for me to take. So if I'm looking at the chart and I wake up, you know, after 2, and I see this, like yesterday morning, you know, if I was up at that time, there's nothing clear. Potential 4-hour wick to go feel bullish, but it's a potential lower high to go bearish, and that's actually what price did. Price kind of went up a little bit, rejected, and just continued going bearish, but failed to break, right? This was not enough confirmation to do buys unless you were just trading based off the fact that the 15-minute time frame was making higher highs and higher lows, but it wasn't good enough. But what happened? We had 3 4-hour wick fills in one day yesterday. 3. So for 12 hours, you had a potential to get in at any time with minimum to no drawdown at all. You could have bought resistance and still been in profit yesterday. literally. But with identifying the momentum, with identifying the ways of how to get in based off of momentum, we're looking for rejections off supply zones, rejections off demand zones. We're looking for the higher time confirm based off of how price has rejected most recently. How many times is price rejected? Where is price at? How strong are the 4-hour candles? So I'm pretty sure that after this explanation, you guys, get more and more of an idea of what we're looking for. And maybe I'm not doing the best job of, plotting these in the chat room for you guys to learn on it better. So of course these webinars are extremely important. But this is where psychology comes into play regarding momentum, because when you're very confirm, you're high confirm that we are going bullish, right? We are going bullish because of the 4-hour time frame. Like I said, my buys were literally stacked right just seconds before the 6 o'clock 4-hour candle opened. And we just recently had some nice rejection. It's telling us that we're just gathering premium price, rejecting this zone to want to go push up to the high side. You could have even, because I remember, I believe it was Caesar, asked me, Kyle, are you going to be looking to re-enter? I was not. I was not looking to re-enter because I was already in, right? 75 pips in a matter of 30 minutes, in and out, done for the day, right? There's no reason to trade anymore after that. However, if we're 4-hour time frame confirm, we broke above resistance, right? Here's that resistance. Here's that resistance. We broke above the resistance and we left another 4-hour wick to fill. This is the wick, right? So it goes up and it comes down on the 15-minute time frame, right? And then 1800 is the 6 p.m. candle. But you can see this is the wick to go fill. So it went up and it came down. And so now it has, an area to go and retest and fill the wick. This is what a wick fill looks like off the lower time frame. You can see where the wick was to go fill, right? Here's the candle to fill that wick. But when it regards to psychology, what really started to help me out a lot is if we're buy confirm, right? And we're placing buys here, right? So we're placing buys here. Our stop loss, if we're buy confirm, is below those most recent resistance or supports. So if we're bullish, it's going to be under the most recent support based off of wicks. And so you always really want to go towards those lowest wicks, sometimes even just these. But the issue is sometimes it just you want to leave breathing room. Even if it's just a couple extra pips, you have to risk in order to get reward, right? So this is what the risk, to reward was, or you just run your stop, you just let the trend do its thing. Maybe if once you hit 20 pips, either close, run stop loss and profit, but you can never know how far price is really going to go, especially with global news. We can have some sort of global news happen, but understanding where to place your stop loss. Like I keep telling you guys, never just place 5 pip stop loss and 10 pip take profit. You can never just place because you want like a 1 to 2 risk to reward ratio. Because what happens if price comes down and just hits your stop loss every time because you don't leave breathing room, and then price continues going in momentum and you psyched yourself out and now you don't want to get in because you already took a loss because you weren't allowing price to have a breathing room. That is exactly why my breathing room is below the most recent support or resistances, right? Another great example, if I'm trading around this 2 o'clock, which I never do because I'm not up at that time, but 2 o'clock sparked the new 4-hour momentum. Obviously, there was nothing besides a beautiful double top on this 15-minute. But what happened? We actually made a 2-1 confirm off of resistance, right? So this is the highest high. Now we have a lower low. This is a nice, it didn't break this low, but this is how you're spotting like trend changes. This becomes the new, it's a higher low, but now it's because it's failing to break, this is the lower low. and now we've made the lower high for a 2-1 confirm, right? So the way that looks is, of course, this is our highest high at this time. Now we have a lower low, and you can see price is just failing to break. It's not going bullish. It's failing to break. Lower high, right? 2-1. Trend change. Although it wasn't clear on the 4-hour, 100%. Actually, that's a pretty damn good sell signal. I would have taken that probably, just because we're on resistance. If we were in between, I may not have taken it, just because there's wicks going in both directions. Could have taken it from any sign. But this finishes off going bearish with the wick to fill, as you can see. But if we're sell confirm, so let's say we're placing ourselves anywhere in this time frame, if we're looking for, lower lows, lower highs structure, and we're selling the lower highs, if we place sells anywhere in this area, my stop loss is going to be above and around this most recent high. This is where I want my stop loss. I want it above the wicks that are most recent. And look what risk to reward ends up being on a scalp to swing, right? You can see the potential, right? Price always goes right back to where she's always been. She always does that. She's always going to go and retest. So look at what price did, right? So yesterday, my buys are here and my stop losses are here. And then your take profits here. And then once you're already in profit, 5-10 pips, if you want to start putting your stop loss in your profit, so no matter what, you take profit. That's what I did on gold last night. I didn't take home the profit I was looking for, but I hit my stop loss in profit. I made my TP a little too far down. It was literally like this much away from my TP, just BS, like nothing. This would have been like 3 pips. But it is what it is. Profit's profit. But this is what's helped me with my psychology, was understand. This is why I use the EMAs, because it really helps me with my stop loss. Because when I look at this, I see a trend. I see a distancing, right? You just keep going back in history. There's crosses, right? We have a trend. Look at the distancing. These distancings really help. When the EMAs cross, when the 50 EMA is on the bottom and the 14 EMA is on the top, it's going for a bullish trend. If the 50 EMA is on the top and the 14 EMA is on the bottom, it's a bearish trend. So the 50 outweighs the 14. And you can see, right? Cross, little retests, more retests. Boom, right? 2-1 right here. This was a good trade. I think a lot of it, I traded this. We traded this last week, right? So if you're buy confirm with 4-hour momentum, if you don't have the 4-hour momentum, just don't trade. Just wait. Or like how I have it set up, the way I look at charts in the morning is on the 4-hour time frame is every 1 hour. You have hours. Look at this. Look at these 1-hour time frames, right? It's 3, 5. Okay. The 1-hour time frame was already extremely confirmed for the 6 a.m. push. Pretty close. Look at how it already tanked. Now the next thing I do is I just look at the 1-hour time frames in that 4-hour candle, because those 1-hour time frames usually set up pretty nice. Let's see if we can get an example. Let's see if we can get an example for the earlier morning. A little too much consolidation here. No, that 7 o'clock is not the best. I don't think I traded this one. Let's see if we can get a good example. This is a good example. Okay, so the 6 a.m. push would have been right here, right? But there's really no confirming trend right here. But then look at how the 8 a.m. and then look at eventually by 9 a.m. Look at And then going into 10 a.m. with a new 4-hour candle, now that 4-hour time frame already had that nice bearish, broke below support. So then we had a 1-hour wick to fill and a 4-hour momentum. And you can see that price went. So I'm looking at charts in the morning based off of ultimately the 4-hour, but then I look at every 1 hour in between. So I'll wait for a whole hour to close to see if we're going to have a huge, rejection off support, rejection off resistance, if we're going to close strong, if we're going to have a wick to go fill. I like to wait. Typically, all my entries happen. They don't typically happen like mid candle. They're always right as a candle closes in the beginning of either a 4-hour or a 1 hour. And it's based off of usually the 15 or the 5-minute time frames. That's where the entries get taking place. But I wait until the 1 hour or those 4 hours close. That way you can have a really good idea of where the structure of momentum is going. And this is where the psychology is so important. Because if you just don't have a clear momentum, you just don't trade. That's it. Or you look at another pair, right? Because if we go through all the pairs right now, if I go through USD, if I go through Euro, GBP, just random pair, right? If I go through just a random pair, this is where I had the spark of even starting the Wickfield Wizard group, is because you can just keep going through pairs and seeing what is cute, right? What is good, what is looking like the trend is your friend right now. As you can see here, I mean, we definitely had, this is looking like a triple top, but we had 4 top. If this wasn't a good sell confirm for you, for a 4-hour momentum, you just don't trade. Let's look at Euro USD. This is how powerful the 4-hour time frame is. Watch. Nope, no momentum. You can see we definitely had this strong bullish push. So you can look to keep going into momentum, but there's not a clear and concise where we've gone, because we kind of already have tapped these nice zones over here. So this would not have been a clear trade from going bullish. I would not have traded this. Even though it finished off so strong, it wasn't like a textbook like last week. Like, look at how this candle closed so bearish, and look what happened for the 10 a.m. It just tanked. Huge momentum and getting into the market right there, right? So let's go to the next one, Euro Jeppy. Now, although I'm not trading all these other pairs, I'm going to show you how to spot the momentum. Nothing. We didn't have clear direction right here. Let's look at CHF Jeppy. Okay, CHF Jeppy looked a little bit better. So I would have potentially been looking into trading CHF Jeppy. Although we are at this really, really high resistance, right? The thing is, we finished so strong bullish and we finished above this resistance here. So this is really telling me that, okay, we're probably going to be pushing up to the high side, right? So if we're going to be pushing up to the high side, then I would be looking for buys, right? And so 6 o'clock actually had a huge sell off of resistance, but ended up having a cross and a retest. Huge. There may have been news. I didn't even check news because, of course, I'm not trading right now. But this type of volatility looks like news. See, like by 5:30, we had the news, and then it pulled back. This is a typical news area. But then let's see, after price ends up pulling back, look how many pips she ends up going up, just being buy confirm, right? Let's look at I don't know why I'm looking at this. I just want to see if there's momentum. No, there was. Oh wait, this is not the 4-hour. Not so much, just because of how weak, and after rejecting it and closing below resistance, this would not have been a good confirmation. We might still be pushing up to the high side. This looks like we might be still pushing up to the high side, maybe gaining liquidity, but I would not have had confirmation, so I wouldn't have traded. Let's see if good old GJ's got something. Okay, GJ is looking a little better. But this is the mixed emotions. I probably would not have traded this because we could have had a rejection to go push bullish like she's doing, or this could have been a lower high to go bearish, right? Like higher high, lower low, lower high to go down. I would not have actually traded this. I would not have traded this. It was not as clear as like last week's 6 p.m., right? As you can see, we break above resistance again with a 4-hour wick to fill. That is a clean trade. Although, of course, GJ moved so wild and she came down 18 pips in liquidity. This is why I don't trade GJ. That's just too much. I can't handle that, right? 18 pips in liquidity. She would have went up, what, 50 pips? 70 almost? So there's your risk to reward, right? Let's look at more pairs. What are some other pairs? What else do we got? Let's just look here. GBP EOS to the dollar. Don't know what that is. Oh, AUD. Let's look at some AUD pairs. Okay, AUD. This is telling me that potential bullish too. This may have been a clear enough confirmation for me. I probably still would not have traded it because it was not like last week too. As you can see, look at how the 6 o'clock finished. These are the types of things you're looking for. Look how 6 o'clock finished. Look how strong. There's no reason price is going to be going up from this. Look how strong. And then you need to know, where's price going? So we're going there, and we're for sure going here. Because of this wick range, this is where you can say price is going to go. So how many pips was that? 6 pips. And down there, 27 pips. So you can definitely see how the 4-hour momentum scalp to swing was on AUD USD. You know, being able to siphon through all the charts every 4 hours on all these different pairs was the inspiration for the Wickfield Wizards, right? Was the fact that you can open up pretty much any pair, and if you don't have momentum, you don't need to trade. That's what I was doing. I was trading all kinds of pairs that I've never traded before, just looking at momentum, seeing trades like this early in the morning, knowing that there's no other possible explanation for price to be going bullish. It's only going bearish. Let's look at AUD Jappy. Let's see if we have an AUD Jappy. This morning wasn't looking very clear. Nope, I wouldn't have traded. Actually, sometimes this type of setup is telling me we're going bearish, just by the way that the candles are closing. So this may have been a potential sell. I may have sold if I was trading this pair, but chances are I probably wouldn't have. Just because it wasn't 100% clear. Even though it did go down, it went down quite a bit. Oh, this would have been a nice confirm right after 6:30. And actually, to tell you the truth, this was very nice for sells. Because you definitely see we had 2-1 confirm off resistance, and we did have that potential for 4-hour bias for sells. But then what happened after the 15-minute? This is would have been when I would have closed, or I would have entered. If I didn't already enter off the lower high, this was telling me this is huge. You never really know how far price is going to go, but by knowing where those next zones are, she drops 12 pips. There's the scalp, right? So this had potential for bearish, would have been able to get in and trade this just based off of how this candle was closing. You know, of course, closing lower. It's closed small, looks like a bit of rejection, so it wants to potentially shoot down on the low side. What else? What other pairs do we have? I don't think I've ever traded this pair, but let's see if they had momentum. Did we already look at it? We may have looked at this already. What about AUD USD? Did we look at AUD USD? I think we talked about this. The potential for the momentum here. I think we did. No, it was another one. They just look similar. Maybe it was this. Or it might be AUD Jappy is the one that might look like this. Let's look. No. It was another one. I don't remember. But anyway, so actually this morning, let me go back to USD Jappy. This morning, for that early morning 6 a.m. push, did not have, oh yes, USD Jappy did. Because look at how this 4-hour candle closed. Look how strong that bearish momentum was. This was probably the hands down the best pair for that early morning push this morning. Right? Did we already do a pip count? Yeah. 26 pips. Price drop this morning. She finished off super strong. Right? Here's the resistance. Here's a minor zone. Right? Here's a more typical. This was resistance now turned support. So this would have been where the TP was. Because you can say, well, supply, price goes from supply to demand, demand to supply. And look, this is where the TP would have been. In this whole wick range area. It's in between the zone. This is textbook. Textbook. With the 15-minute time frame, making those lower lows and lower highs. With the that 4-hour momentum. Look at where price broke below. Right for that 6 o'clock is where price dropped significantly. Actually, this is all it dropped. It dropped 12 pips. Too much potential, though. Too much potential for account growth for those early morning pushes, right? So, like I said, if you don't have the momentum, if it's just not clear 100%, then you're not trading. My gosh, I haven't taken one sip for my coffee. Now it's cold. I have to put it in. Give me 1 second. And I'm not going to ask if that helps because I'm already pretty sure that helps. All these refreshers help. All right, let's go. Let's see what else we got. Dude, I'm going to start trading the Mexican dollar, I think. I like that pair. Let's look. Yes, Mojave, that's right. You're looking for your stop loss to be. I've never used a trailing stop, to be honest, Gabriella. I don't even know how to use a trailing stop, but just be honest. Never done it. I know on MetaTrader 4 on my computer it has like the trailing stop, but I don't know. I've never experimented with it. Oh, I found one. Oh, no way. Okay, let me just keep. Never used the trailing stop. I clogged my mind. Oh, yes, the what ifs. That's the thing. It's like if you have 5 trading days in a week. So if you have 5 trading days in a week, right? Let's do proper math. Okay? If you have 5 trading days in a week, including including Sunday market open, right? You have 6 4-hour candles every week, which means for one pair, you have a potential for 30 opportunities in a week. 30. You have a potential for 30 momentum-based style trades. All that is just we have 6 4-hour candles in a trading day, 5 days a week. So you have 30 opportunities. Now when you combine that with all these different types of pairs. So if you have 30 opportunities in one trading week following a 4-hour time frame momentum, right? And let's say you're trading 5 pairs. That's a potential for 150 opportunities from momentum. 150 opportunities for just trading momentum. So if you do not have momentum, you do not trade. If there's nothing on a Monday morning or a Tuesday morning, wait till 10. If there's nothing at 10, wait till Asian Open. If there's nothing then, wait till 6. Keep looking back at the chart. Eventually, price is going to set up for textbook entries. Price always does. Week after week after week, she has those opportunities for textbook. Those are where you're putting higher leveraging. Those are the ones that you're making some serious cash on. It's because like last night, textbook. I called it out in the chat. I did a video recording of while I was taking my entries, and I told you exactly where my TP was. The exact word for word. And this was it. This was it. I had not a single pip of drawdown. Not one. That's following momentum. If you can catch one of those trades a week, just let's say one, one, and you're on a $100 account, $500 account, $1,000 account, think about the exponential account growth. If you're only looking for these specific setups, if it's not there, you do not trade. If you even question yourself one time saying, I don't know where price is, that's already, you're done. You can wait for the next couple hours. You can wait to see what you've trained yourself to see. But what I've trained myself to see with those momentum is that if I do not see where that momentum is, then I do not trade. And of course, I have exceptions. And those exceptions are because I sometimes still rush trades. I still get in when I shouldn't get in. I still have my own psychological things that I need to battle. Let me grab my coffee. But, right, I still have my things that I deal with, but without momentum, you don't need to trade. So what does that look like? Well, look at yesterday for an example. Just yesterday. Let's do some math. Let's delete everything right now that is up here. All these squiggles. It's getting a little bit confusing right now. Even this, and this, and this, and all these pip counts. Okay, let's look at yesterday. 6 a.m. we didn't have clear confirm. By 10 a.m. we ended up having confirm. Now, what did we have? We had 2 4-hour wicks to go fill. Even 3, if you look at here. It still filled the wick and went beyond the wick. Let's see how many pips that was, just hypothetically speaking. I'm just curious. It went up 10 pips off of finally rejecting, right? Just yesterday alone, we had 2 very clear 4-hour momentum trades. 2. So let's say your account is at $1,000, right? And you're only looking for textbook momentum trades, 4-hour wicks to fill, 1-hour wicks to fill, etc. So you have $1,000. And let's say we're going high margin, right? Maybe not full, maybe 50% margin, but let's see what that looks like. So we're going to do 5 entries. No, I'm going to do 10 entries because you can do 10 entries. 10 entries of, no, I'm going to do 5. 5 entries at 1.0 standard lots on a $1,000 account, right? So that's $10 a pip. Uh-oh, let me plug my computer in. I'm getting kind of low. That espresso is so good. I don't know why I started enjoying black coffee over the years. I think it was when I went vegan and I stopped like drinking dairy products that I said, well, I might as well start getting used to it. But black coffee and like is actually super good. It's like super bitter and almost disgusting, but delicious at the same time. It's a weird bittersweet friendship I have. So we got $1,000. We got 5 entries at 1.0 standard lots on a 1 to 500 leverage, right? So what does that look like? What does that look like? We've got $10 a pip, right? And it went up. Let's say we had our TP. Because I closed mine at 15 each, but it really went 20. So let's just say 15. Times 15 pips, right? What does that look like? So if we've got $10, if we got $10 a pip, $10 a pip times 15, that's $150 per entry. And we had how many entries? We said we did 5, right? That's $750 commission off of a $1,000 account going pretty heavy margin on a 4-hour momentum wick to fill. So this is $750 profit, one trade. One trade, 5 entries, 5, 10, 1.0 standard lots. So that is 75% account growth. One trade. One trade. You go from 1,000 to 750. That is just following momentum, placing stop loss in profits, whatever, letting the chart do its thing. Substantial account growth happens from consistently doing the same thing week after week after week. Week after week after week. That's where consistency happens. If you do not know where price is going, do not trade. Why? Because you want to make money. So what happens if maybe today we don't have something nice, but tomorrow we do, and it's big, and it goes 100 pips? What does that look like? Instead of catching 15 pips, what does it look like if we've got $10 times 100 pips? What does that look like? It's $1,000 per entry. $1,000 per entry. And look at price went 50 pips yesterday since 10 a.m. Imagine buying one of the higher lows off the 15-minute time frame and just scalping the swing. So here's for 10 right here. Imagine scalping a swing any of these times. Right? The confidence has to be in the momentum. If you don't know, don't trade. That's it. You can never lose any money by not risking any money. And then if it keeps pushing and you're like, shit, I should have entered. Well, shoulda, coulda, woulda, but didn't. Right? I tell myself that all the time. Oh, I should have entered. It was just like last week when I said this is a textbook setup, and I said if I just don't take these types of trades, I always bum myself out. And it was kind of looking like this. These are just a textbook, just rejecting, going for a launch. Even right now, what do we have? We don't really have 4-hour clear momentum, but it's in that momentum, right? We had a cross and now we had a retest. Selling those, EMA pullbacks, the rejection. Look how many times it rejected, even just selling from the top of this. Already up 4 pips. So what does that look like when you have high leverage? Well, we already did the math. Right now, as we're speaking, price is making lower highs and lower lows with a double top on the 5-minute. If we go to the currency meter, I can probably tell you that Japanese is strong. Yep. Look at the Japanese yen. Look at the US dollar. Look how much stronger the Japanese yen is right now. Right? If sells were here, stop losses are around here. Or just start running on 1 pip in profit, 2 pips in profit, let it do its thing. Because it's either going to tank or it could be rejecting this area too. This was a pretty strong support. Price has touched it many times. But we might be going down to those lower sides. But if you're not 100% sure where price is going off momentum, just don't trade. Start posting more in the chat, whether if you see momentum or not. You should just be able to identify it immediately, like this. You had zone here. We're in between zones with the 4-hour momentum, right? If you have no zones drawn up, it gets very hard to say, well, I don't really know where price is going to go, Kyle. We'll draw some zones up, right? And I had this zone already drawn up from yesterday. And then, of course, look at this is the most recent zone where price has touched it many times. So you're in between zone. Look, 0 drawdown. 11 pips, 0 drawdown. Not a single pip drawdown since the candle opened. So there's another high margin trade for you. That's following momentum. If the higher time frame does not tell you, then you do not trade. Even if it just starts making all kinds of crazy confirms, unless the 1 hour time frame is really setting you up. That's why I like those 1 hour time frames in between a 4 hour time frame. Because especially in the morning, it seems like every hour, price can set up and look better and better and better, right? Like what did price do? Made it a little lower high here, potential lower high to make sell confirms. If you're not comfortable, don't do it. Let's get into some more questions. Super Saiyan. Yo, try Jappy. I don't like these pairs. I don't like these try Jappies. All these ugly pairs. Go plug it. 20% will last a good 2 minutes. That's so true. 2-1 super and gold best setup. I like that, Roland. Yes, Alex, exactly. Like, okay, let me read your thing. Damn, didn't realize how many opportunities. As for that, the what ifs, it's like I'm there, but a good analysis set my overall bias and be patient. But I believe for myself what constrains my ability to be completely emotionless would be a state of mind. Yes. For example, I could be like out an hour before a session, come to the charge and settle all good. It's a fact that, and there's silence of mind. Does exactly, and that's just where those 4 hour momentums come into play. Can you talk about accumulation of orders? What do you mean? Just like stacking? When I go heavy margin, sometimes there's really no time for like stop losses. Because on a full margin trade, even 5 pips is probably at least 20% account growth, 30% account growth. It just depends on the calculation that you do on what your account is and what size lot size you're doing, right? Because, like, let's look at here, for example. Yesterday. So let's take yesterday full margin, for example, right? So let's say if we're doing full margin yesterday at this 4 hour wick to go fill, right? Look at the 15-minute time frame. And like I always tell you guys, the push always happens usually in the very beginning of like a 4 hour candle or a 1 hour candle. The price is always pushing at the beginning or the end. It's always like that. It's always right at the beginning or right at the end. In the 1 hour, it might be right in the beginning or it might be in the last 15 minutes. So price is always looking to push at those opportune times. So let's look what full margin looks like here. Even on this first 15-minute candle, price already went up 10 pips. On a full margin trade, full margin account, no matter which way you look at it, 10 pips is very hard to catch consistently. So sometimes there's no room for a stop loss. And I know that sounds very bad risk to reward. That sounds terrible. That sounds awful. But if you're doing full margin and you're in, let's say, 10 pips profit, if anything, just start putting your stop loss in your profit. So no matter what, you take home profit. But a lot of the times, if I'm doing those heavy orders, I'm usually just clicking them like click, 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 click. Sometimes as it's going, I'll just keep clicking. And then maybe I catch another 2 pips or another 3 pips. And then I go over on MetaTrader 4 and I click on close all script. And then it just goes, it just starts closing them all down. It's easier said than done. I'll tell you that much. Because you have to have those perfect setups. And I only do those for higher time frames, like 4 hour momentums. Or like those 2-1s sometimes, like those 2-1s off resistance or supports, like those. I'll take 2 pips, 3 pips on a full margin. Even here, going full margin, and it comes and you catch 6 pips per position. The hard part about full margin is you tend to get greedier. Because I'm telling you, profit comes so quick. I can't tell you how many $100 accounts I flipped to 1,000 in 2 trades. If you can consistently keep flipping $100 full margin accounts on a 4 hour momentum trade, and you can consistently keep making $200-$300 per full margin. Eventually, once you start building an account and you get to wanting to do it on a $100 account, I just became a heavy margin trader. I didn't like anything besides going heavy margin. Because you see profits that come like this. You can just basically steal money. Accumulation of orders. Oh, you're talking about like the accumulation of like real-time orders like in a market. To be honest, Gabriella, I don't really understand that too much. I don't really understand, how the accumulation of these orders go in, how all of that works. There's so much of the unknown in the foreign exchange market that I don't know. What I do know is what I do know. But when it comes to like the accumulation of orders, I understand, price going to hit premium price where they want these premium prices before like a market end or a market start. But I don't really understand how the accumulation of orders happen. I've never looked into it. I never cared. The only thing that I really cared about was understanding looking at a chart. If I can understand looking at a chart, that's the only thing I cared about. Too much technical, too much fundamental gets really confusing. The way I've trained my eye over the years and in the recent last 5-6 months is I only trade those 4-hour momentum pushes. All my screenshots, I should start doing this. Every single screenshot I take should only be a 4-hour time frame so that you can see how it works. I should start doing that. Only screenshotting 4-hour time frames, nothing else. Just so you can get an idea, because this morning was perfect. Look how strong that rejection was, and we're in between zones. So why would we come up? That just wouldn't make sense. All of the accumulation of orders are in cells. 12 pips. That's more than enough on a full margin. Oh my gosh, 12 pips on a full margin, 10 orders. That's why do it small, right? When you learn how to trade full margin, trade small accounts. Start with $50. Start with $100. Because believe me, it gets very difficult to get out of those ranges if you're trading full margin and if you make one mistake and you don't do something typical. If you don't wait. Because if you go full margin and you don't leave for breathing room, you can get stopped out of your whole account on just a few pips of a retracement. So that's why full margin is only for those extreme confirms. Only for confirm. Super confirm. Oh, I heard some car in the background. That was kind of cool. Oh, that's not a car. I think it's somebody's mic that's just kind of echoing. Let me go back to the chat now. Yeah, I mean, as long as you know, it's possible to know exactly where the chart is going. It's very possible because the momentum trades is the way that lets you do it. Daily, 4-hour, etc. Anybody else, you guys? What else are we struggling with? I got about 15 minutes. I'm getting off at 8:30 today. Got some other important things that I have to do. Rejection wicks. Okay, so rejection wicks. So when we're paying attention to these rejection wicks, so we have 4-hour, right? What do we got? We got 4-hour, and we have tons of. Here, for example, so like when I'm identifying momentum, I don't know if you're talking about lower time frame or higher time frame. So we'll touch on both. But when we're looking at momentum, the wicks that are rejecting either a supply or demand zone, support resistance, are extremely important. As you can see, we reject, 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 reject. It's really rejecting this. You can see that. It's really rejecting this, leaving us off with some momentum, right? When we're looking here, rejection, rejection. These are textbook setups for higher time frame, even lower time frame. The lower time frame will look exactly the same. Rejection, rejection, close below resistance. Boom. Another one. Boom. Close below support. Strong. No other place for this to go going into London. No other place for it to go. So when you're looking for these, like this morning, like you can see this was huge rejection off of this resistance, needing to go back from supply to demand, needing to go from support and resistance, resistance to support, needing to go back to the zone that price just came from, because that's how price action works. Price never just keeps going unless it's Brexit, right? So 15-minute time frame, right? When especially with a 1450 EMA cross, and now we have these momentums, you can see this rejection, this rejection. We're just rejecting. This is why I took my buys right here. All my entries were right here. And my stop loss ended up being down here. But, price just comes too quick with those momentums sometimes. Sometimes it'll range a little bit longer. It doesn't always have to happen right now. But for the most part, that's exactly what price is going to do. It's going to make those pushes right now. And so I'm looking for those rejections. I'm looking for how many times price is rejected an area. If price hasn't rejected an area that much, maybe it's not a good time to trade yet. Like these are really good. I love these types of setups where it's just kind of like up, 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 up. By now this is confirmed. It broke above resistance, so now we're going to the next, this most recent, now we're going to the next resistance, which would have been here, right? Look how many pips. That's a done scalp that's a great scalp. And a scalp to swing, look, 30 pips, huge. Already had rejected a bit before, but we already had the cross, and now this is the retest. It had very nice EMA distancing at that time. I don't really know how to touch on rejection that much, it's what I've trained myself to see, because sometimes we don't have a crazy amount of rejection wicks. It's just price is just changing trend, ended up going into London Open right here, sometimes price doesn't leave a bunch of wicks. It just sets up. Like this had huge rejection here. Boom, boom, boom. It's setting us up again. Look, it's setting us up. It was the same thing. It's setting us up. Same thing. Setting us up. Rejection. Rejection. These types of trades, if you're selling resistance here and you're stacking right here, this can go either good or bad because it can keep going into trend. Maybe it is rejecting, but it didn't really hit the resistance that it wanted. If this would have happened here, then that drop would have been gnarly. But it wasn't really on the resistance that price wanted to be at. Because I knew this by calling it out in the chat from the 4 hour. This was not strong enough. This whole area is not strong enough. This one was strong enough. And it actually went up to this whole wick here. That's a stronger zone for price to reach. This was not. It's in between. See, look, it's in between. Was not strong enough. So with that 15-minute time frame, because I would take a sell like this, off of big resistance. Absolutely. But then we just kind of just kept going higher highs and higher lows all the way up. The candle tips, what it looks like to have no wick. Please let us know when this. Yeah, I'll upload this to the drive right now, and then I might end up posting this to YouTube too, just to kind of reach out. Because these are very good and informative webinars that help so many people, right? Not only us right now, but there's still tons of people. I mean, you guys, I get messages on the daily. I'm not the best trader, but by posting free information, it really helps out those. If you look at my YouTube channel, you'll see a bunch of people that are just commenting, even on my Facebook, thank you so much for the free information. You see people that are, not the clown on Astro, but let's look at Astro, Astro FX. They travel around all the world that are teaching people, but I don't know if they even have a YouTube channel. I don't know if they have a YouTube channel that they're putting out free information. Let's look. just because I'm trolling right now. I'm trolling. Taha needs some YouTube time for sure. Let's see if they have a. I don't know. I mean, they got something. Take Asia. Oh, they're just posting cars. I don't even. Yeah, 3 minutes. This is not even an analysis. This is just like, yeah, this is just marketing stuff. Yacht parties. I don't post this stuff. The best traders for cars. Yeah, yeah. This is my point. It's not free information. It's just marketing. Look, they just market cars. Like, are you kidding me? At least you got something up there, technical analysis. I don't know. I've heard some stuff. Yeah, rolling exactly. If you guys want me to start doing that, I'll do it. But chances are we won't have very many conversations. Look at like I've heard some people that were saying that they do a lot of these live trades, and this is coming from people in their groups saying that they'll just call out trades that happen without understanding it whatsoever, and it'll just plummet the opposite direction. Look, 406,000 views. Think about this, guys. You have 406. I don't know how I got that many views, but 406,000 views. Multiply that. Let's say half of those people bought a mentorship. That's insane money. 1 million student stories. Maybe that's cool. I like that. I don't want to knock because if anybody's helping, they're helping, and they have more videos than I do. 124 videos. That's good. But like you look at all these cars and stuff. But student update, no, that's good. I don't want to knock it. It's good. I haven't watched them, but it's nice. But exactly. I just like the education. Of course, I have some marketing things. Of course, for the Wickfield Wizards group, when we are launching the Wickfield Wizards group, or even this new thing that I'm doing with the IBO. You've got to use the internet and your following. It doesn't make sense to build a following and then not grow with other people in other areas, right? But strictly educational. I just like the educational side because then you get on and you're learning, right? New York session, free Forex webinar. So, anyways, I'm not going to knock them. Here's some stuff that Josh and I talked about. So I don't want to knock them, but it just has to do with the free education, posting online. Like I just posted a couple videos last night, and some new people. Yes, see, Kyle Murray, like how we overcomplicate our trading. It's so true. It's so true. So free education helps. So this video will be recorded. It will be in our drive, and it will be on YouTube, just to kind of help out. Right? I think the chats are kind of dying down now. Our group is a little dying down. We're getting closer to the time that I'm going to get off, so we'll just start wrapping this up. Oh, you want to talk about like no wicks? So when I see no wicks, it doesn't look like price has done it in a while. But like if price were to close, come down here and potentially close no wick, having a higher low, it's probably telling me that price is done, price is bailed out, right? Price is exhausted. Or if price was going to close no wick, like on a resistance, it's telling me that's a potential that it's going to reverse. I don't use no wicks as like here, for example. Look, price closed no wick, it retested a little bit, but it was just time to go up. So I don't use those as 100% confirms. Those just help because they don't happen like every time like textbook. Like, oh, price closed no wick, just buy. Right, like here. Like, look, price closed no wick. So it doesn't mean just buy, even though it went up. But you can see how sometimes when price closes no wick, it has those exhaustions. I don't see too many right now in a recent time. But they happen every once in a while. So sometimes they really do help me to, depict the trend if it's going to continue going bullish or if it's going to continue going bearish. but they do not happen all the time. So it's very difficult to do like a, give a great example on them unless it's just live and I post it in the chart, in the chat. But when price closes no wick, sometimes it's really telling us, and sometimes it's also telling us that we might continue going into a trend, like off the 4 hour, right? Like when price closed no wick, oh, it was a different pair. It was Euro USD. Right here. Like prices closing no wick. Look how strong this rejection was. So strong, close no wick. It's telling us we just want to keep going. No drawdown. Look, there was no time for a retracement. This was 10 a.m. This is when you guys were saying, it just keeps melting. But how many stacked? You catch one of these a week, guys. You don't need to really trade any time. Once you start trading momentum, you really don't want to trade that much else just because you just need to look for trades like this. Look, 6 a.m. they had no clear direction. The candle closed by 10 a.m. Look how clear the direction was just 4 hours later. Momentum. And look where it was. Right? In between zones. So what do? We rejected resistance. So where's our next support? In these wick ranges. This is where you know where your take profit's going to be. Minimal in this wick range, which is still 20 pips away. Take one momentum trade a week. That's why Forex 6 got out. Alex, I don't even know how much he trades anymore. I think he trades like one setup a week. You just take the one setup a week, you put your heavy margin on it, you make your money. The last thing you want to do is be stuck in the charts. This is why the momentum is so important. You need to look at the chart and be able to say, I know where price is going. I know where price is going. That's how I've trained to interpret price action. So anyways, 8:28. I got to get ready to close this down, guys. Yeah, thanks for showing up. I was barely up in the morning, but I'm glad that we were able to knock this out. For those who came, thank you. I'll post this in the chat as we speak. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. Let's just keep growing, guys. Let's keep growing.